Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be breaking down the 11-game NBA slates we have here on DraftKings for Wednesday night. $100,000 up top to first place as usual. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. My name is Hart, and I do daily slate breakdowns for the NBA and NFL here on DraftKings, where I talk through my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range options, and value plays. And then you can also follow me on my Patreon link down below. It's 100% free. I do a slate write-up for the NBA. I'll start doing it for the NFL. I know I said that a few times, but I'm going to start doing it for the NFL. But yeah, I do a daily one for the NBA where I talk through my favorite spin-up plays, building blocks, all that good stuff, and it's 100% free. I also have NBA DFS projections out within hopefully the next 2 weeks. But yeah, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. Before getting into the breakdown, just want to say follow me on Twitter at HartDFS. I'll put up my Patreon post there as well. You can find it in the link down below in YouTube, as well as my link tree on my Twitter. So a bunch of different places you can find it. And for today, I just did another day where I just posted my core. The core's been great the past few days, but I just haven't been picking the right spin-ups. Another day where Ja has just been disappointing because their team's getting blown out. But Victor was great. Highsmith was great, and Duran was great. I think Duran had like 34. Highsmith had, I think, 30. And then Victor had 28. So all those core value plays were fantastic there. And then Ja Morant is obviously disappointing because they're getting blown out. But yeah, the core's been great the past few days, just hoping to hit on the big studs. Yesterday was a pretty solid day. LaMelo actually went off in the second half. Didn't get a takedown, but still made some good and decent money with the rest of the guys in my lineup doing very, very well. Even though that Suns game did blow out and a lot of those guys didn't get fourth quarter run, but I was still able to put up, I think, 320 around that score. So yeah, pretty solid day. But today, probably not going to cash because I picked those Sun guys and they were just terrible. Never picking them again. But moving on to this 11-game slate, we have Milwaukee and Cleveland as the first game. Pretty much know where the offense is coming from both sides. For Milwaukee, obviously, if you can get up to Giannis, looks like a fantastic spin-up play here against Cleveland. Even though it's a tough matchup, should be a slow-paced game. Drew Holiday makes for a decent pay-up spot. Point guard in this 8K range, aim for 4K. He has the upside into 50 plus. 45. Can easily get there, so I don't mind getting into either one of them. The rest of the team, Bobby Portis is there at 6'8". Seems a little bit too pricey for me. Middleton is not going to play, so don't have to worry about that. I mean, if he gets rolled in, sure, we can look to him. He's been terrible, but don't think he's going to play. And then I do like Brook Lopez a good amount here, 5,600. Not going to shoot 17 times. Should see, hopefully at least 30 minutes. Should shoot close to 10 times. But he can easily get you there with the blocks. He's pretty much averaging like 2 a game. Has the room and the ceiling to get you more than that. So yeah, he's a guy who could get mid 30 fantasy points if he's doing very well, mid 40s, even alongside Drew and Giannis. So I think he'd be my favorite play on this Milwaukee side so far. Allen's there at 4,200. Prices really dropped down. I guess makes for a decent value play. Should see hopefully close to 30 minutes, if not at least 25. Carter sees the backup point guard run, but with Drew Holiday back, no real need to get to him. Ingles is back as well. Only saw 15 minutes. I'm assuming he's going to be limited again. Don't think we need to get there yet. Pat Connaughton should see, I'd say, at least 15 minutes, maybe closer to 20. He looks like an okay value, 3,800. And that's really it. With Cleveland, we know the offense is going to go through Mitchell. First off, going to be the leading scorer. 9,100, not the best price tag for him. Just makes him more of a contrarian play up there at the top. Garland, same thing, just more of a contrarian play here at 7.8K. Had a huge random game there against Dallas and then kind of dropped back down to earth. It was a blowout, so they didn't really get a lot of second half run, but no real need to get to anyone on this Cleveland side. I mean, Mobley's there, Allen's there. I guess Allen maybe would be my favorite on this Cleveland side. Does have some decent upside. Love, I'd say maybe my second favorite play. Saw 24 minutes in that Utah game. He has massive upside. It's just the minutes have been inconsistent. Not really as aggressive at times recently. So, okay value, 3,800. But yeah, not a ton I like between either one of these teams in this game. Moving on to Detroit and Philly. Obviously a great game environment here. Bogdan, once again, going to be the leader of the team. Has all the usage. I think he's seen about 30+% usage the past month without Cade Cunningham. But he's just, super score independent. So if you want to get to him, don't mind it. It's obviously not the best matchup going against Philly. A lot of blowout risk here. Hayes, 6,000, just, fine price tag for him. Same thing with Stewart. No real strong takes, just not a great matchup. these guys are cheap, but they're just spreading out the minutes to so many people. Ivy finally saw more than 30 minutes because he's playing super, super well. So he had 43 fantasy points. We know he has that ceiling. It's just he's been so inconsistent before that. I mean, he hadn't seen a 30-plus minute game since the beginning of December, so almost like 3 weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, 4,800 seems pretty cheap for Ivy. It's just, huge blowout risk. Minutes aren't guaranteed, but I think he'd be my favorite play on this Detroit side, followed by Duran. Obviously not the best matchup here for Duran. Kind of foul prone, as you can see. He's getting at least 3-4 fouls a game. Going to have to be guarding Embiid, so makes him more if he can trade and play. Probably won't have a lot of ownership with him, but he's been solid. Pretty much averaging like 30 fantasy points a game. Has a ceiling for more, but obviously not the best matchup. And then the rest of the guys, Burks is going to see some minutes, 17 to 25, depending on how he's shooting. Same thing with Sadiq Bey, floating around 20 minutes. Bagley, maybe if Duran gets in foul trouble, sees more minutes, but he's been floating around 18 minutes. Yeah, they're just playing too many people. I think, Ivy's going to be the only one I really have interest in, maybe Duran. But Embiid looks great. If you want to pay up for him, there is that huge risk that he doesn't play more than like 3 quarters. Same thing with Harden. Think they look fantastic. Obviously, a great matchup here against Detroit. You just hope the game stays close. The rest of the team, just more, secondary options. No real need to get to really anyone unless you really want to bank on, the game blowing out. And hopefully a guy like Milton, pays off. But yeah, really no interest in the secondary plays for Philly. Moving on to Indiana and Boston. Indiana side, Halliburton always looks great here in this price range. We know his massive upside. It just, comes down to, can he hit a shot? If he does, should at least get you 45 fantasy points, if not more. If not, at least, should get you close to 35, fantasy points, even if he's having a really bad game. Hield and Turner, more of secondary plays. Turner, it seems like once every 4 games, has a really good game. He had a really strong start to the season, and then he's really fallen off the past, month. With, every 4 games, he's having a good game. But, yeah, I don't know. Not my favorite play there. Same thing with Buddy. I mean, they do have upside. They just seem kind of priced about right. Would rather take, a shot on Halliburton for that upside. Mathurin should see, hopefully close to 30 minutes. He's always a tournament option. Nembhard's seen a ton of minutes, just not a ton of usage. Smith's dropped all the way down to 3,700. He's just not seeing minutes anymore because they've looked to and they moved to Aaron Naismith. Where is he? TJ McConnell, backup point guard, run about 15 minutes. Aaron Naismith, 4,000. He's been playing a lot more minutes recently. You can look to him at 4,000. It's just he's been super inconsistent. Guess it's revenge game narrative for him. So if you want to get to him, don't mind it. But I mean, he's just, either he's like a Tim Hardaway Jr. where it's either he's going to really pay off a salary or he's just going to completely destroy it there at 4,000. Boston side, Tatum, 11,000. Solid spend up. I mean, we know what we're getting from him. Jaylen Brown at the price tag, don't love it, 9,400. Pretty elevated because a few of those games the past week, Tatum did miss. So Jaylen Brown had to do more, but I don't really think there's a need to pay for him at 9,400. Smart is questionable. Obviously, if he misses, we can look to guys like Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. But if he's playing, more of a contrarian play. Don't mind getting him here at 6,100. Brogdon off the bench should see, his minutes should drop down closer to, 25, maybe 30 at most, but I'd say around 25. I think he makes for a decent play there at 5,100. He's been great this year. Horford should see, I'd say maybe 30 minutes. I think you can expect at least 25, but yeah, I'd say 30 minutes. Robert Williams is back. He's 4,300. He's only seen 18 minutes past 2 games. I'm assuming he's still going to be on a minutes limit, about 20, so I don't think there's a real need to get to him yet. He could easily pay off that price at 4,300 in 20 minutes. He's very, very good. Again, blocks could go off for double-double as well, but just once he gets to at least 25 minutes, really like Robert Williams then. But for right now, no interest. And then with Robert Williams back, does eat into Grant Williams minutes a little bit with both those bigs backs. He should see maybe 25-ish minutes. 4,000, you can definitely look to him. But yeah, not a ton of interest. Derek White's fallen all the way down to 3,900. You can take a dart throw on him. But yeah, it's really just Tatum for me. And then more, everyone else is kind of secondary plays. Toronto, New York, not the best game environment here. I mean, Pascal goes off for 68, plays pretty much a whole game because the game went in overtime. So he has that upside. Always a decent option to pay up. But yeah, no real strong interest or takes for any of these, Toronto guys. VanVleet's priced up for how he's doing well without, OG and, Gary Trent. They should all be back. So with everyone at their current price tags, no real interest in anyone besides, probably Pascal. Boucher, coming off the bench. he's always there. You know, he can definitely get you there in a small amount of minutes, but 4,800, not the best price tag. And that's really it for this Toronto side. New York side, Randall's been fantastic. I just don't love the matchup. So the price tag is okay. I just, you know, factoring in the matchup, don't love it. Same thing with Brunson. You know, he's been great the past week. It's just, don't really love the pace of this matchup. I think it could be a very low scoring and just gross game overall, which is obviously not great for fantasy. But if you want to go there, you know, people are going to think that way, and the guy should be, you know, kind of low owned. So don't mind, you know, getting contrarian and doing that. But I have no strong interest in any of these guys. You know, Mitchell Robinson offers a ceiling, but if Toronto plays small with Pascal at the center, Mitchell Robinson's not going to be able to handle him. So he's not, you know, he'll get his minutes slashed. Quentin Grimes, maybe my favorite play in this game, 4,900. Seeing at least 30 minutes every game. He's been a decent fantasy point per minute guy. So him quickly maybe is always a, you know, tournament option. But yeah, no real strong interest or takes on any of these guys in this game. Moving on to Chicago and Atlanta. A little bit better of a game environment here. DeMar 8,500, Zach 7,200, Vooch 7,100. Kind of the same breakdown for all of them. You know, DeMar is going to be the most consistent, not always the most consistent with peripheral stats, but at least scoring the ball. Zach, more of that boomer bust kind of guy. Playing a little bit more consistent recently, but it just, you know, some games he just can't hit a shot. He just looks out of control. So I really like into DeMar. Zach's more of that boomer bust, and then Vooch, I guess the most consistent in terms of fantasy score when it comes to like rebounds and points. But obviously, great game last game, great game tonight. It's just the shot attempts aren't always consistent with Vooch. He can go out there tomorrow, play, you know, 33 minutes and only put up like 25 fantasy points because he just doesn't shoot the ball or doesn't shoot the ball well. But yeah, 7,100, don't mind him. I do think people are going to chase the box score there. 4,000 for Patrick Williams. I mean, he's a decent value play. He's burned people the past, few games in terms of value, but don't mind going to him there. The minutes have been great recently. Caruso, seen about 25-ish minutes. You can go to him. I don't mind it, but yeah, no real strong take with any of these value guys on like Kobe White, Ayo DeSumo, Dragic. They're all going to see some minutes, but I don't think there's a need to get to any of them. On the Atlanta side, obviously with everyone back, Trae Young goes off for 61 fantasy points. Don't really get that, but a great matchup here against Chicago. So I do really like Trae Young today at 10-2. DeJounte Murray, I don't mind him. Has some upside, plays 38 minutes. So he's going to play a ton of minutes. It just comes down to, if he can hit a shot. If he does, I do think he can easily pay off. They're 8,600, has 40, 50 plus potential, especially in this matchup with the Bulls who, yeah, they're decent defensively, but they just don't play. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but they're good defensively, but they also give up a ton of points, especially to the stars. So you could easily target DeJounte or Murray. The rest of the team are just kind of there. I mean, Bogdan, priced about right. John Collins, priced about right. Same thing with Hunter, Okongwu, Griffin. No real strong interest or takes with those guys with, kind of the whole team back. Really only like Trae and DeJounte as they lead the team. Golden State is where you're going to get all your value. Steph is out. Clay's out. Absolute bum. Coming off of 17 fantasy points tonight. That dude is trash. Wiggins still out. DiVincenzo, he was out tonight, but maybe he's back tomorrow. If he is, do like Poole and DiVincenzo will get him out there at their price tags. I'm assuming Draymond Green is going to be ruled out for tomorrow without Clay, without Steph, without Wiggins. Most likely they're going to rule out Draymond Green. So that means DiVincenzo, Poole are going to start. I'm assuming Looney's going to start, but one of those games where he could easily lose out on minutes because Brooklyn don't always play the biggest, so he could definitely get yanked at some point. Kuminga will probably slide into the starting lineup or come off the bench, same thing with Lamb, Jerome, Moody. So there's going to be a good amount of value on this Golden State side. We'll have to wait for the Draymond Green news and the starting lineup, but really like Golden State is a value. Going to be chalky, but for good reason. And then Brooklyn, I think they look fantastic. Great game to stack here. If it stays close, Durant and Kyrie are going to lead the team. Really like Ben Simmons here. At the second half of November, he was averaging pretty much like 35 plus fantasy points a game for about a week or two there. And then obviously he got hurt. He's come back, slowly getting back into it. So I do like Ben Simmons a good amount at 6,200 right now. And then Claxton does offer kind of similar upside to Ben Simmons. He's been great at blocks. Even if playing alongside him, he still has upside. But yeah, don't mind him. It's really just, getting into Kyrie or KD and then Ben Simmons. Royce O'Neal priced 4,900. he's going to play the minutes. Looks okay. And that's really it. I don't think you need to get to the value guys for Brooklyn. I mean, you could if you want, but it's really just kind of the main 2 stars. And then maybe Claxton is a secondary play, but like Ben Simmons a lot as well, along with KD and Kyrie. Moving on to Portland, OKC. Dame at 10-6, questionable. The whole team's questionable, not really sure why. Looks like he's good to go, 10-6. Great matchup here. He's been great recently in terms of scoring the ball, 25 plus pretty much the past 2 weeks. So if you want to ride that hot streak there, don't mind going to him. Once again, he always seems to have low ownership. Simon, 7,300. Now he's more at a price tag where it's like if you want to take a dart throw on him, you can. Does have some upside, pretty scoring dependent, but he's going to play the minutes. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. So don't mind him. I still don't think there's a need to get to him. Same thing with, Jeremy Grant, going to play a ton. Could he get you there? Sure. It's just you don't really feel great going to any of these guys. Even Nurkic, 6,800, a solid price tag, but he missed the last game. Looks like he will, potentially be back. If he's not, love going to Eubanks. But if, he's back, no real strong need to get to really anyone besides a Dame. Obviously, if Nurkic is out, do really like Eubanks. Played 32 minutes the last game. Not going to shoot the ball a ton, but he's very solid in blocks, assists, rebounds, kind of a little bit of everything. And yeah, that's really it for Portland. I mean, Justice Winslow going to be decent value there, 3,500. And that's really it. OKC, we know the offense is going to go through SGA. He's been super consistent and solid this year, so like him as a spend up at 10-1. Giddey is going to be out once again. So it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to pick the correct OKC guys. Lou Dort figures to be the second kind of main guy. Should see at least 30 minutes. Should shoot the ball a decent amount. Don't mind him at 5,500. Don't think it's it's not like a great price tag, not the worst, but just kind of there. Really just prefer SGA. Jalen Williams is going to be your most consistent value piece for this OKC side. His minutes have been great this year. Poku, just not seeing the minutes. Don't really think there's a need to get to him. Rather get to a guy like Kenrich Williams, who's seen 30 minutes past 2 games. Should continue to see at least 25, if not 30 once again. He looks pretty solid there at 4,300. Isaiah Joe should see mid-20s. Wiggins, he should see mid-20s as well. They're just playing a ton of guys, so decent value. Trey Mann is in the G League, so don't need to go to him. Muscala seeing 15 minutes. So yeah, they're just playing a ton of guys in their rotation. Williams is seeing some minutes. I think Eugene is seeing minutes as well. Yeah, they're playing pretty much their whole team, the whole bench. So it's just hard in getting to these value guys. Really, I'd say just, Kendrick Williams, Jalen Williams, and then SGA, and that's really it. Moving on to Dallas. Luka sold. Had him on Prize Picks. Got ejected in that third quarter. Super annoying. But yeah, like buying. His prices dropped down to 12.6, which is great because he was 13,000 for a few games. But yeah, 12.6 if you can get up to him. Don't mind him there. In this matchup against Minnesota, just got ejected against them the other day. So he'll probably come out strong there. Christian Wood, 8,100. If he starts, I think he still is a solid play there at that price tag. But if, Dwight Powell's back, don't love Wood at that price tag. He should, probably come off the bench. We'll have to see. But, yeah, it really just depends on if he's starting or not. Dinwiddie, Walker, everyone else is just kind of priced up about rights. You can get, DFS was out. Looks he's out once again. So I guess maybe we'll see Wood starting once again. So I do like Wood, do like Doncic. We'll have to wait on that Wood confirmation. Hardaway's there. Should be the third scoring option. Going to be playing decent minutes. Just comes down to if he's hitting the shot. So you could definitely look to him at 5,300. But the rest of the team, Bullock going to see a ton of minutes. Not the best. Kleber, DFS still out. Powell, questionable. So if he's out, I guess you can definitely look to Wood once again. Wouldn't mind running Wood and Doncic and just stacking this game with the value from Golden State. You can definitely do that. And then moving on to Minnesota. Edwards looks like a very solid spin up. He's been fantastic without without Rudy Gobert. He's really stepped up, rebounding, getting assists, scoring the ball. So I guess he looks 9,500. Even in this matchup, it looks like he's doing a little bit of everything. So don't mind getting to him. Gobert is questionable, missed the past few games. If he's good to go, he looks decent at 7,500. Russell, same thing. A little bit of a down game there against Dallas, but him and him and Ant-Man should lead the team in terms of scoring and rebounds, assists, all that stuff. Naz Reid, if Gobert is out once again, Naz Reid looks great. He has huge upside if he can stay out of foul trouble. And that's what he showed recently, 2 50-point games in the past 2 out of 3. Even at that price tag, $5,900, still think he looks great if he's going to start again. But if obviously Gobert's back, there's no need to get to Reid. Anderson, $5,900, seems priced about right. It's a little bit too high, I'd say. Noel's going to be at the guy off the bench, score independent. McDaniels is there, and that's really it. I mean, they've been starting Rivers. You can look to him at $3,500. He's been decent recently, but yeah, I guess okay value play, and that's really it. Torian Prince is potentially back. If he's going to be back, no minutes limit, you could definitely look to him at value $3,300. He'd figured to shoot a decent amount off the bench there. Moving on to Orlando and Houston, another great matchup here. I do like Paolo, decent amount, 8,000. Not always the highest ceiling, but he could definitely get you 40, 50 fantasy points. Had one 62 fantasy point game, but otherwise, mid 40s at 8K, I guess is decent. Wendell's out, Suggs is still out, Franz is questionable. Obviously, this is big news, but if he's good to go, don't mind him there. If he's out, more guys off the bench are going to be, should be more usage for Apollo, pretty much everyone on the team. So we'll have to wait on that news, but Wagner looks decent. He's had a pretty decent upside or ceiling, playing alongside these guys. Fultz, it seems like every few games has huge upside. Price is $5,700, so I don't love that. Bol, the minutes have just not been great on Bol recently. I'm not sure why, but if Franz is out, you could definitely see Bol maybe picking up a few more minutes, getting closer to that 30-minute mark. Cole Anthony, I think he'd be my favorite play there. The minutes haven't been great recently, but if he's gonna be shooting well, playing well, especially if Franz is out, expect Cole Anthony to get a big minutes bump, 5,000. He'd be my favorite play. Mo Bamba should see maybe a few more minutes as well. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the starting lineup. And that's really it. On to Houston. I think Green and Porter both look a little bit too cheap here. I really like both of them. Sengun, $5,700, seems a little bit too cheap, but going up against this big front court in Orlando, I don't love it. Smith Jr., I think him and the 2 stars for this Rockets side seem the best. Coming off 2 bad games, he was good before that. Don't mind him there at $5,200. And then the value guys like Martin, Gordon, Eason are all there if you want to get to them. Moving on to the Lakers. Anthony Davis still out. LeBron, $9,900. He should be good to go. Makes for one of the best spin ups of the day. Fantastic matchup here. Really like LeBron against Sacramento. Should do everything for this team. Like Russell as well. He is questionable. If he's good to go, obviously he has triple-double upside coming off the bench. Should see at least 30 minutes, hopefully. He looks great at $7,400. Bryant looks solid, $5,300. Should see the minutes. He's been good scoring the ball. Offers, double-double upside. Not going to get it every game, but I think he still is a little bit too cheap there. Lonnie, more score independent. It really depends if Russell's out. If he's out, definitely raises the floors of guys like Lonnie, Schroeder, or Reeves if they're all in. Maybe even a Pat Bev a little bit, but if Russ is in, it's really just LeBron, Russ, and Thomas Bryant for me. I mean, you can get to the secondary pieces. Reeves would be decent. He's going to see the most minutes out of like the secondary guys on this Lakers side. Schroeder is coming off a huge game, so maybe if Russ is out, we could look to Schroeder once again. He's going to be the second kind of leading scorer behind LeBron offensively for them at $4,700. So it really depends on that Russ news. So hopefully we get that. Otherwise, I'd say a good strategy would be playing and kind of building your lineup around Russ potentially being out and getting to these secondary guys, because you still have one more game that you could potentially get to guys at if Russ is actually ruled in and you don't play him. Moving on to Sacramento. Sabonis coming off a massive game against Charlotte. 71 fantasy points. It seems like everyone's destroying Charlotte recently. So, I mean, the minutes have been great on Sabonis, seeing close to 38 minutes a game. He's really stepped it up fantasy point-wise the past 2 weeks. Not going to shoot the ball a ton, but, I mean, the minutes are there. Usage is there. Very, very solid matchup here against Thomas Bryant. So, I do like Sabonis there as a bring back. Fox, 8,700. Looks solid. He's kind of back to the Fox at the beginning of the season. And the rest of the guys are just more secondary plays. Herter would probably be my favorite there. Can definitely get hot from 3, especially in this matchup. Monk, same thing. I do think those 2 are my favorite plays on this Kings side, and that's really it. And then the last game, Charlotte and the Clippers. So LaMelo Ball, 8,900. Still a little bit too cheap for LaMelo. He's going to have huge upside, double-double upside. can definitely get you a triple-double as well. So, yeah, I really like LaMelo. Should see mid-30s minutes. Oubre, I think he's a little bit too pricey for me with, potentially Rozier back. Or I guess he's doubtful. So, I guess Oubre is decent. 7,700 should figure to see huge minutes. Should shoot the ball a ton as well. So, him and LaMelo look solid. I do like Gordon Hayward a good bit. Seen, 35 minutes, 37. Not going to shoot as much as Oubre in ball, but, he figures to get the assists, get the rebounds, score as well. So he does offer a decent amount of upside there at 6,200. The rest of the team just kind of there. I mean, you can get to a PJ, does have some upside, but with those main guys back, it's really just them for me. And then Nick Richards has been really good the past few games. Minutes are slowly ticking up a little bit more. So you could definitely take a shot on him, 4,000. I mean, it's risky because before that, in the same amount of minutes, he could go out there and get you 15, 12 fantasy points. But yeah, he's been very solid. If you want to ride the hot streak there, I'll mention that. And then the Clipper side, Paul George, 9,300. If he's good to go, he looks fantastic here at 9,300. Same thing with Kawhi. Kawhi's minutes, he is now back into the 30-minute mark. I'd prefer getting to Kawhi if they're going to play together. Paul George would be more of a contrarian spin-up play, but I think Kawhi looks really, really good here in this matchup. And then John Wall, priced about right. No real need to get to him with the kind of main stars back. If Paul George is out, we could look to more Clippers, but it's really just the two guys at the top for me. And Zubac, questionable. If he's good to go, I mean, the past two centers, past 2 days in a row, Jokic and Sabonis, they both put up 20-20 games against Charlotte. We saw Zubac have almost a 30-30 game this season, so maybe it's 3 times in a row. Maybe he's going to be the next guy to do it. We'll have to see, but yeah. 5,200 for him against Charlotte, a team who shoots the ball a ton, misses a ton, could have some decent upside there. But yeah, it's really just going to be, Luke Kennard's going to be decent. Doesn't have a minutes limit anymore, so he'll be decent value, pretty scoring dependent at times. But yeah, it's really just going to be Kawhi and Paul George for me right now. And then if, Paul George, if we get news that he's not, doubtful or not going to play, we could get to the secondary pieces. But really, those two are going to lead the team in usage. And then, yeah, for the fourth guy for this core as of right now, make sure to follow me on Twitter, follow my Patreon for my updated core tomorrow when we get more news. But right now it's going to be LeBron, Kawhi, Ben Simmons, and then we'll throw one more person in right now. Let's see here. Let's go to Golden State. Let's just say Jordan Poole for right now. So, yeah, the guys I'm kind of leaning towards right now are going to be Jordan Poole, LeBron, Kawhi, and Ben Simmons. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.